Hello everyone. Today I'm going to share something truly important with you. After age 60, your body doesn't crave calories, it's starving for nutrients. But most people are eating the wrong foods. The 7 foods I'm introducing today are scientifically proven superfoods that you can eat every day. Did you know that 80% of chronic diseases start with insulin resistance? All the foods I'll share today help lower your insulin levels. Plus, I'll give you 3 bonus foods at the end, so stay with me until the very end. Let's start with number 1, sauerkraut. You might be wondering, what exactly is sauerkraut? Simply put, it's fermented cabbage. But be careful, don't buy the pasteurized products sitting on store shelves. You must buy raw sauerkraut. Why? Because heat destroys the most important component, the beneficial microbes. Did you know that sauerkraut is one of the most powerful probiotics available? It's far superior to yogurt, kefir, and most probiotic supplements you can buy at the store. 1 cup of this fermented cabbage contains only 1.9 grams of net carbs, so it barely affects your blood sugar at all. It's loaded with fiber and nutrition. Sauerkraut is the most vitamin C-dense food on the planet. In just 1 cup, you get over 700 milligrams of vitamin C. That's 10 times the recommended daily allowance. It's incredibly easy to digest. Most people with digestive problems, especially those with ulcers or gastritis, can consume sauerkraut without any issues. Sauerkraut is also loaded with something called glutamine, which actually heals the gut when there's inflammation. Amazingly, sauerkraut is packed with vitamin K2. What does vitamin K2 do? It removes calcium from the soft tissues of your body, including your arteries and joints. The microbes in sauerkraut actually produce vitamin K2. Isn't that incredible? Sauerkraut contains powerful phytonutrients, including sulforaphane. Most people think sulforaphane only comes from broccoli or broccoli sprouts, but it's also abundant in cruciferous vegetables like cabbage. It's been studied for its anti-cancer properties and can help put H. pylori, the bacteria behind ulcers, back into remission. The real superstar in sauerkraut is something called vitamin U. The technical name is S-methylmethionine. This specific nutrient heals ulcers. It's excellent for stomach inflammation, and if you have any type of ulcers in your stomach, small intestine, or large intestine, it goes in and builds up the mucus layer and actually heals the ulcer. I recommend eating about half a cup to 1 cup on your plate per day. That's all you need. Now let's move to number 2, arugula. Arugula, also called rocket, is one of those vegetables that has very low amounts of oxalates. Oxalates can aggravate your joints and can end up as kidney stones. But arugula is a very safe vegetable if you're concerned about kidney stones. The big reason you want to consume arugula as your alternative lettuce for your salad is what it can do for the inside of your arteries. It's one of those foods that gives you the highest amount of nitric oxide. What is nitric oxide? Nitric oxide is a very special compound that helps vasodilate the arteries, keeps blood pressure from going high, and helps protect the arteries against inflammation. I'm not just talking about circulation around the heart. I'm talking about circulation throughout your entire body. So it's not just good for blood pressure, it's also excellent for erectile dysfunction. Out of all the foods on the planet, arugula has the most nitric oxide. The other cool thing about arugula is it has anti-cancer properties because it's a cruciferous vegetable. Personally, I dump a lot of extra virgin olive oil on my arugula. I also add a little nutritional yeast because it gives it a cheese-like flavor. Nutritional yeast provides B vitamins and amino acids. The combination tastes great and gives me more B vitamins, especially to keep stress levels low. Number 3, wild-caught salmon. Wild-caught is like the equivalent of organic. You're going to get something much better than farm-raised, because with farm-raised salmon, sometimes they use antibiotics and certain additives you don't want in that fish. They also have to use different pigments to color the salmon to make it look pink. But when you're consuming wild-caught salmon, it's just super healthy because it's out in the wild. Just 3 ounces of salmon equals 2,000 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids. What are omega-3 fatty acids? It's a combination of two things. DHA, which is really good for building your brain and your retina to allow you to see, as well as EPA, which is a very powerful anti-inflammatory. Anything related to inflammation, arthritis, bursitis, tendinitis, inflammation of whatever, you want more omega-3 fatty acids. Let me compare salmon to codfish for you. 3 ounces of salmon gives you 2,000 milligrams of omega-3, while cod only gives you 171 milligrams. That's a huge difference. Now, some people are concerned about mercury when they consume fish. Well, you don't have to worry with salmon, because salmon is loaded with something called selenium. Selenium helps bind with mercury and helps mobilize it out of the body so it doesn't build up. One thing about salmon that I always do is I always eat it with the skin on. The skin has a lot of nutrients, especially right underneath the skin. You have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids and other things like collagen. I highly recommend you eat salmon or other fatty fish at least a couple times a week. Now let me talk about cod liver. What is cod liver? Cod liver is something you can consume in a can. You can buy it online through Amazon or other sources. Cod liver is the liver of the codfish, and it's very unique because out of all the foods, including salmon, cod liver has the most omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 is so important right now, not just for your heart, but to drive inflammation down and to counter all the high omega-6 fatty acids from seed oils. Omega-3 competes with omega-6, and the majority of the population consumes about 1/3 of their calories from seed oils. We need a lot more omega-3 to balance that out. When we talk about nutrient-dense foods, you have organ meats like liver. A lot of people don't like those organ meats, especially liver, including myself. Even though it's good for me and I want to like it, I just can't eat it. But I can eat cod liver. It's like pudding. I like the texture and the taste. Cod liver comes packed in oil, which is also very high in omega-3, but I wouldn't actually drink the oil, or your gallbladder is going to feel very heavy. Just eat the cod liver in the oil and don't drink the oil. If I compare cod liver to salmon, cod liver has much more omega-3, and it's fattier too. The fat you get is very, very good for your brain, nervous system, and heart. As a side note, the two things that don't increase insulin are fiber and fat. That would be fatty salmon and cod liver, which is fattier than lean fish. Several years ago, I did a video on canned products like this. In my mind, I assumed without testing that if you heated these foods up like they do in the canning process, that would destroy the omega-3 fatty acids. I never tested it, so I felt weird about it. I went to the grocery store, bought some canned tuna, cod, liver and canned sardines, and sent them to the lab because I wanted to see if the test aligned with what they were claiming. The report came back and I was amazed. It actually does have the amount of omega-3s that they say it does. The heat used in the canning process doesn't destroy the omega-3 fatty acids. Number 5, hamburger. This is probably surprising you, right? You're probably thinking hamburger is junk food. You're thinking about McDonald's hamburgers. I'm not talking about that hamburger. That hamburger has meat in it from probably 200 or 300 different sources. The quality is not that great. I'm talking about grass-fed hamburger. If you can find organic, that would be even better. Grass-fed hamburger is not only easy to digest, but it normally has a little more fat to protein ratio. I would not buy the lean one. I would buy the one that's like 80-20, a little bit fattier. Why? If you consume lean meat, you're going to raise insulin a little more than if it had more fat with that protein. Same thing with eggs. If you're eating egg whites without the yolk where the fat is, you're going to have a higher spike in insulin. In fact, out of all the types of protein that you can eat, the protein that is highest on the insulin scale is whey protein powder because it's super low fat. There's no fat in whey protein, it's just pure protein. What I recommend is that you consume protein with the fat that normally comes with that protein. You're not going extra lean or low fat at all. You're going to find when you eat that protein with the fat, it's going to stay in your digestive system a little bit longer, and you're going to get more absorption from the amino acids. It's not going to go through your body as fast because it's less refined and more natural. I consume a lot of hamburger, of course without the bun. It just makes me feel good. All this data about red meat that people tell you causes cancer or diabetes is utterly ridiculous. It's absolutely not true. In fact, I healed my body on red meat. Red meat, especially from animals that eat grass, is super high quality and very bioavailable. Hamburger also has a lot of other nutrients, not to mention the B vitamins, zinc, iron, and copper. It also has something called carnosine, an anti-aging antioxidant compound that helps you live longer. Hamburger is also high in creatine. People buy creatine all the time as a powder to increase their muscle growth. When you eat hamburger, you're getting about 350 milligrams per 100 grams. Hamburger will give you the type of iron that is the most bioavailable on Earth. If you get iron from spinach, you're not going to get close to the absorption as you would from meat. Number 6. Brazil nuts. I wouldn't recommend consuming a lot, just 1 or 2 per day. What is so special about a Brazil nut? Out of all the food on planet Earth, Brazil nuts have the most selenium of any food. The next question is, what's so special about selenium? First of all, it can help your thyroid. It helps T4 convert to T3, the active form of the thyroid hormone. A lot of people with hypothyroidism don't have enough selenium, not just iodine, because selenium is not very prevalent in soils anymore. It's not in the food like it used to be. A lot of the fertilizers we use don't let selenium go into the plant. If it's not in the plants or the animals, it's not going to end up in our bodies. If you suffer from a selenium deficiency, the thyroid is going to suffer. That's number 1. But number 2, and this is huge, pay close attention because this is the most important part of this entire video. What selenium does for your immune system is mind-blowing. Certain T cells, specifically the T helper cells, cannot work without selenium. T helper cells are like the command center of your immune system. That's like the Pentagon overseeing the military. If you don't have that high-level control to tell the troops to deliver certain weaponry against certain pathogens, viruses and cancer, then you're going to be very vulnerable and susceptible to having problems. Did you realize there's a huge correlation between selenium deficiency and susceptibility to AIDS? There's also a lot of data showing that increasing selenium improves the complications of AIDS. One of the most common conditions on planet Earth right now is autoimmune diseases, and there are a lot of them. Hashimoto's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. People with these conditions are suffering from either a selenium deficiency or a vitamin D deficiency. Both of them work hand in hand. A lot of men and women who have low selenium have problems with testosterone. Realize if you're a female, testosterone turns into estrogen. The estrogen you have comes from testosterone. Selenium protects the ovary to help someone become more fertile. It protects the testicle to make sperm more mobile. Selenium is also crucial in preventing your hair from falling out. Think about a very common problem with hair loss, which is alopecia. That's an autoimmune disease, and selenium can greatly help that. Now there's a problem with toxicity with selenium if you have like 20 nuts every day for months. So I'm only recommending you eat 1 or 2 Brazil nuts every day. Number 7. Extra virgin olive oil. First of all, it's going to help you extract a lot of the phytonutrients from the salad you put it on if you're using arugula or romaine or leafy greens. The way you know it's real extra virgin olive oil is you'll feel a little tickle, a biting sensation in the back of your throat. I consumed olive oil for years, and I didn't know that because I was consuming probably an adulterated version, which wasn't even the real thing. You just buy it at the grocery store, it's really cheap, and there's a lot of corruption with olive oil. They mix it with different things. You really have to find a good brand that comes from either Spain or Italy or other countries. I consume a lot of olive oil. It's good for your heart, it's good for your cells. It works as an anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant, and the phytonutrients are 20 times stronger than green tea. It's also really good for the mitochondria, the little energy factories in your cells. It's anti-clotting. Realize this, 90% of heart attacks are related to a blood clot. not plaque buildup. Same thing with a stroke. Extra virgin olive oil is really important to have in your diet. Now let me give you the bonus foods. Cheese. I'm talking about quality cheese, full-fat cheese, raw cheese, aged cheese. Most of the cheese I consume, I get imported from another country. But that's not 100% necessary, because there are certain places in America that are doing it right. Cheese is a fermented product, so there are microbes in there that are good for your gut. Cheese is also loaded with vitamin K2. Vitamin K2, from my viewpoint, is an anti-aging vitamin on steroids. It keeps calcium from building up in the soft tissues in your arteries, as well as keeping calcium from building up in your joints. As we get older, we calcify. We become very, very stiff, filled with calcium, not just in the joints and arteries, but also even in our eyes and other tissues. The other thing that cheese has is something called CLA, a very interesting compound that can help you burn more fat. We have cheese as a probiotic. It has butyric acid that can help feed our colon cells. Cheese is fermented, so it eats up all the milk sugar, lactose, making it very low carb. It's a high-quality protein source. The next bonus is chocolate. Now I'm not talking about Hershey's chocolate kisses. I'm talking about dark chocolate. You can actually use cacao, which is a powder, and you can mix that in something and take that, which I do as well. Sometimes I'll get 85% dark chocolate as my dessert for my first meal around lunch. I don't consume chocolate late at night because it has certain types of stimulants. What's in chocolate is amazing. It's loaded with polyphenols. It'll increase your nitric oxide, that compound that's a vasodilator in the arteries that helps your circulation, just like arugula. The more I studied dark chocolate, the more mind-blowing all the different cool effects it has. Some people will say you better not consume this dark chocolate because it's high in oxalates, and oxalates can lead to kidney stones. But there's one mineral loaded in chocolate that has high affinity for these oxalates, and it can connect to neutralize oxalates, and that is magnesium. Magnesium is one of the master controllers of calcium, keeping calcium in check. Magnesium is very deficient in a lot of people. Magnesium helps your muscles, it helps lower cortisol, it helps your sleep, and it helps to create more energy in your mitochondria. A lot of people think they're craving chocolate, but they're really not craving chocolate. Your microbes are craving chocolate and sending signals to your brain to eat chocolate. Yes, there is a small amount of sugar, but there are only about 6 net grams of carbs, which is on the low side. If you're on a ketogenic diet, you want it below 50 grams, so an extra 6 is not too bad. You can pretty much go for a walk and burn that off very easily. The last bonus is L, rotary yogurt. What is that? I'm going to put a video link below so you can learn how to make this. You'll need a yogurt maker. If you don't want to bother with that, then maybe just eat Bulgarian yogurt, which is also pretty good. But there's something very special about L, rotary yogurt, that I want to explain. L, rotary as a microbe is something that's missing in the general population. We just don't have it anymore, especially if you've never been breastfed, especially if you've had antibiotics. It's such a key microbe because it helps increase muscle mass, it helps your sleep, and it helps increase this hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is one of the most powerful hormones that lowers cortisol and stress and increases social impulses. In the video I linked, I show you how to make it yourself. We make it and keep it in the fridge. When I first started making it and taking it, about a week later my wife said, "What the heck has gotten into you?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You want to hug me like 5 times a day. You never want to hug me. What is wrong with you? Keep eating the yogurt." I said, "Okay, I will." It's pretty wild. This L, rotary, actually creates that effect. But really, it's the microbe sending a signal through the vagus nerve all the way up to our brain to tell something in our brain to make more oxytocin. It doesn't actually give you more oxytocin, it triggers your body to make more. Isn't that amazing? A lot of people have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, and that's where you get a lot of bloating in the small intestine. A lot of the microbes that should be in the large intestine end up in the small intestine, and every time you eat, you just feel really bloated. All you need is about half a cup a day of this yogurt. Most people are eating the opposite of these foods. They're eating refined foods. I want you to eat these foods just for 7 days to prove it to yourself. You will feel the best you've ever felt just by trying this. Please leave a comment telling me you're going to try this tomorrow because you have to prepare for it. Then come back in 7 days and tell me how you feel. Before I go, I want to give you my daily reboot routine that I do every single day in a one-page document. You can find it in the description below. Presently, I am 60 years old. I actually feel like I am 18. I am way healthier now than I was when I was in my 30s by a factor of 10 times. Check out the link in the description. Stay healthy, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.